Hi, it's Julia here again from the Clarity Clinic. Today I'm coming to you from our garden room, which is another one of our play therapy spaces here at the Clarity Clinic. One of the other things that people often ask in one of our first calls, we're in a consult call, is how many sessions would be ideal for their kiddo, which is a great question. And sometimes it would be a little hard to answer, but because of the assessments that we use here as tracking tools with kiddos, we can sometimes get a bit of a picture before we've even had an opportunity to meet or work with your child. So in a previous video, I spoke a little bit about our SDQs and the strength and difficulty questionnaire and how we use that as a tracking tool with kiddos. So how that can help us determine the ideal number of sessions for your kiddo is like this. So there's been research-based reports done on the SDQ, Strength and Difficulties Questionnaire, and play therapy, the non-directive play therapy that we do here at the Clarity Clinic, and how they go together to support the underpinnings of sort of the struggles or challenges that might be coming up for your kiddo and how long it may take for some of those challenges or shifts to realign. So thinking about that, the SDQ really gives us a good indication of where your child is sitting with their strengths and their difficulties. So the overall score is out of 40 for difficulties and 10 for strengths. So if you look at it as sort of a scale, what we want to do is ensure that your child's strengths are as high as they can be and their difficulties at least in a balanced perspective with their strengths. So if they're coming into us and the first assessment reveals that their score is 20, 25, 30, or above, that's a very high difficulty score. That is going to take a significant period of time to help your child work through all of those challenges, reset all of those roots, and be able to move forward with a sort of more balanced plate. But there is sort of key markers that we look for. So if your child has a score of maybe 10 or below, and they've had a little bit of difficulties with a couple of things in their life, but nothing real major, and their strengths are maybe a little low, then ideally our work in session is maybe for 6 to 8 sessions. So to do the work in those 6 chunks, I do like to redo the SDQ after every 6. Then we redo that assessment to see where your kiddo is, and then we plan for closure. If their difficulties are a little bit greater and it's between a 10 and a, say, 15, then we're looking at that being more like 12 sessions. So 2 chunks of 6, 2 parent sessions to be able to talk about the assessment, to be able to support you with your concerns and challenges, maybe start to do things a little different at home if that's a challenging area as well. And then we're starting to really see how things are starting to come together. And maybe at that point, we're ready to plan for closure. If your child's score, as I said earlier, is in a higher range where it's sitting around 20 or above, we're looking at additional rounds of those 6 chunks. So again, I always recommend or encourage to redo the SDQ after every 6 sessions and do a parent session after every 6 sessions so that we're tracking and we're all working together on the same page to support your kiddo to really feel that their process, their work is important and everyone is involved to be a part of that. So again, depending on their level of difficulty will depend on how many sessions are ideal for your kiddo. But again, please check in with your specific counselor, and with them, they'll be able to work with you to talk about frequency of sessions, about how long the session should be. Sometimes they're a half-hour session for little kiddos, or for kiddos who have a really difficult time being able to manage or maintain within the playroom initially. The ideal session is a 50-minute session. But there are some flexibility depending on the child and the specific examples for their life. So work with your specific therapist and talk about what your family's needs are, what your scheduling needs are, even what your financial needs are. If we know what the challenges are going in, then we're in a much stronger place in being able to create a solid plan that's going to be not only manageable for you at a parent perspective. We don't want to add additional stress to families, um, but is manageable. We're very upfront, very transparent. This is the work that we're trying to do with your kiddo. And then we're really able to hold that piece and honor it for them. I mentioned earlier about planning for goodbye. So, another piece with our therapy here is we don't want the kiddo's work to just end at some point where they're not aware that it's going to end. Um, if something is coming up and there's a move or a change or it just isn't feeling like a good fit, whatever the reason is, if the parents are choosing to come to closure before the child is ready, that's still a really important piece to share with your therapist so that your therapist can prepare your child for closure. So if you understand the work that they're doing in the room is subconscious, like they're playing, but it's impacting all their unconscious stuff that they're not really aware of. And all of that is open when they're doing their work in session. So to just close it doesn't give them an opportunity to kind of set things the way they want them to be. So planning for closure and being able to celebrate and recognize the work they've done is really a great opportunity to honor this experience for your kiddo. So again, that's how we hope to be able to work through with your child, address and support their needs, work with you in those after every 6 session chunks to be able to support parents and families, and then wrap the whole thing up in a celebration at the end to support the work they've done. So I hope that answers some of your questions. Thanks.